Atlas has three main propulsion engines which ignite at liftoff. Two are booster engines and one is a sustainer engine. The booster engines cut off first, some 2 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. The sustainer engine then takes over and propels the Agena to an altitude of 654,190 feet. Two small vernier engines on the Atlas continue to position the Agena properly in the later phases of launch. They cut off at 5 minutes, 6 seconds after liftoff. The Agena propulsion system then inserts the target vehicle into a circular orbit. Today, the flight plan calls for a circular orbit of 161 nautical miles. Something close to that would be acceptable. The Agena propulsion system can be started from the ground and a burn completed to change the orbit. But as the final figures come up to the flight dynamics officer, no in-flight burns will be needed. Agena has hit the planned circular orbit of 161 nautical miles. This is a good beginning for any rendezvous flight. The news is given the crew by the spacecraft communicator. Pilot Scott comes back with just what the doctor ordered. The flight director now calls for launch of Gemini 8 at 11:40 and 59 seconds Eastern Standard Time. Offshore, the launch site recovery forces are fully deployed. They now can only wait like the rest of us.
Stage 2 pre-valves coming open, 5 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds, mark. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Liftoff. Roger, clock, Gemini. Yes, full credit. We got a roll program. Roger, roll. Good liftoff, 8. That's looking good. Roll is in. We have a pitch program. Roger, pitch program.
The liftoff came as Flight Director Hodge had requested, 11:40 and 59 seconds. Gemini 8 goes into the clouds high above Cape Kennedy. As the spacecraft comes out of the clouds, an aerial chase plane picks it up for a close look at what it's like to ride as a spacecraft crew on top of a booster.
Mark, 50 seconds. You're looking good, 8.
After 50 seconds, the crew releases the restraints which are required for seat ejection. Gemini 8 was inserted into an orbit of 86 nautical miles by 146 nautical miles, very close to the planned values of 86 by 145 nautical miles.
Roger, we have staging, ignition. Roger, staging. And we saw the full-ace fireball there. Yeah.
The launch site abort is the first contingency that is passed successfully. A carefully trained team has been released and returns to other duties. With two good orbits, target vehicle and spacecraft, Gemini 8 had a head start on rendezvous and docking. The maneuvers for rendezvous would be essentially the same as those performed by Gemini 6. So fast does the space program accelerate that rendezvous was the primary objective of Gemini 6 in December. But 3 months later, it is March, and rendezvous almost seems routine. Everyone is focused more on docking. Everyone except those who fly the mission. Then you take things step by step.
This is Gemini Control, Houston. About 2 minutes ago, Neil Armstrong called in over Tananarive, and he was able to confirm at that time that radar lock had been established.
Roger, do you have solid radar lock on with the Agena? Over.
That's affirmative. We have solid radar lock. Just a second, I'll give you our current range.
Roger, thank you. Sounds good.
We're indicating 158 miles range and elevation of about 4 degrees.
After radar lock-on, the crew will circularize their orbit inside that of the target vehicle. Meantime, the ground does not sit still, idly waiting for something to happen. Recovery forces are constantly shifting in response to the orbit of the spacecraft, changing station according to a detailed recovery plan. The USS Cochrane, a destroyer in the mid-Pacific, takes position for a 4-4 recovery. That is, recovery in the 4th revolution in Zone 4. Zone 3 will be the planned landing zone for the next 3 revolutions, for 5, 6, and 7. After that, Gemini 8 will not be over a planned landing area again until the 10th revolution. Then it passes over the Eastern Atlantic Zone. If an emergency occurs in the 8th or 9th revolution, the spacecraft will land in a contingency area. Recovery is supported there by aircraft and available commercial shipping. But right now, much of this seems academic. The crew has other business.
Okay, we've got a visual on the Agena at 76 miles.
Roger, understand. Visual, Gina, 76 miles.
Hello, Houston. This is Gemini 8. We're station keeping on the Agena at about 150 feet. Way to go, partner.
You done it, boy. You done it. Good job.
Do the thing.
Boy, look at that sucker.
That's beautiful. See the dipole?
Do I ever? I see everything with that fella.
Man, that's great.
Man, that is really slick.
A bit of all right.
Okay, the first thing we really have to do, platform parallelism, 650 to 710. And they're giving us the SPC loaded yaw maneuver. It looks like at nominal time. So they're going to give you that time. I'll check your little status display for you. I bet those Lockheed guys are just jumping up and down.
The S10 is on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are looking at the left or command pilot's window as the station keeping exercise with Agena begins. Gemini 8 had no difficulty in maneuvering in the vicinity of the Agena. The onboard film, as in past flights, was at 6 frames per second and is being projected at 4 times that speed. After station keeping for 35 minutes, Command Pilot Armstrong begins to move in closer to Agena, preparing his final docking approach. Both vehicles are traveling at approximately 17,500 miles per hour. We are looking at the target docking adapter end of the Agena. The command pilot makes a docking approach by applying very small thrust increases to Gemini 8. The maximum velocity difference between the 2 vehicles at docking will be about 1 foot per second. When the command pilot is about 2 feet from the Agena, he will pause until he gets a go from the Rose-Knot Victor. The double check has been completed.
Okay, Gemini 8, we have cams solid. You're looking good on the ground. Go ahead and dock. I think we're going to hold off on this SPC thing until he does get docked.
Okay, go ahead with your memory compare.
Roger.
Let us know what you get out of that.
Flight, we are docked.
That was it. 2 vehicles docked for the first time in space. Shortly after docking, the crew was slightly surprised when Jim Lovell, the spacecraft communicator, checked in with this caution.
Go ahead.
Roger, 8, reading you loud and clear. I have some information for you. Ready to copy?
Stand by. What kind of information is it?
If you run into trouble and the attitude control system of the Agena goes wild, just send in command 400 to turn it off and take control with the spacecraft. Did you copy that?
Roger, we understand.
It was a routine check. You punch 400 into the onboard computer. This automatically turns off the attitude control system of the Agena. If the problem is Agena control,